So in a few of my other videos recently, I've talked about reaching that level of disgust when you're in an abusive relationship and you're trying to get out and you keep going back, and finally you decide to be done for real this time, and you reach that point of like major ick. Like you can't even fathom the fact that you have been with this person for so long because they just gross you out that bad. You're disgusted with yourself and the situation and the relationship and the entire time that you've spent with them. But most of all, being disgusted with that person is such a freeing feeling to finally reach. And I know you can't really force it to happen, but knowing that it is a phase of getting out of an abusive situation, if you're having trouble staying gone, my number one piece of advice is to dig for that feeling. Like search for it and push for it, make it happen. Because you already know that you deserve better. You know that this relationship is causing you to be a lesser version of yourself. Think about the person that you could be if you were in an environment where you could thrive and be your actual self. Like just the thought of not having that opportunity puts me in a level of disgust all over again. If you have felt this feeling and you know what I'm talking about, comment below what finally made it happen. Like what pushed you over the edge to feel that disgust, because it might help someone else, push for it a little harder and get there faster. I was so completely done that at the end, after I had moved out, the divorce was finalized, all that stuff. He still had this idea that we just needed to take a break from each other and be our own people for a while, fix some things in ourselves, and then we would eventually get back together. And I played along with that until I was finally out of there and safe. Like, yeah, absolutely, we could get back together after we grow up a little. Fuck that. So after all of that, he tried to have dinner, like wanted to come to my new place and me to cook him supper so we could catch up and, talk about whatever. I hadn't quite reached that spot yet, and I was still trying to keep the peace, I guess, and play along with whatever, even though I knew this is not going anywhere and I want nothing to do with you. So I don't really know why I agreed to it. I still hadn't realized it was abuse at this point, and I agreed to the supper. But all that stuff aside, I had supper ready and he never showed up. And then he called me 3 hours later and said that he pulled over on the side of the road to help somebody change a tire, and then they got to talking and whatever. I can't remember what wild story he told me. But at that point, I just was so disgusted, first of all, with myself for letting him talk me into being disappointed by him one last time, even though I was out. Like, I did not have to put myself in that situation. So, disgusted with myself, disgusted with our entire relationship, which that one had already kind of been coming because I was just so burnt. And then disgusted with him for continuing to be the person that he had showed me an insane amount of times that he was. He was that person, and he just did it again. Proved me right again that he will never change. That was the moment that pushed me over the edge. And every time I had to run into him or see him after that, we had this storage container thing that we went to get stuff out of, and why we both had to be there, I don't really know, but I got there early and already had most of it separated, and he showed up all swaggering in like we didn't just get divorced and tries to fucking kiss me. And gosh. That moment of disgust was probably the strongest thing I've ever felt in my life, because I so much did not want to be touched, and he just laughed it off like someone's in a bad mood. Anyway, disgust is a good feeling when you're in that spot, and you need it so you can move on to the next chapter of your life.